Hello, hello everybody. Welcome back to our life. Last time, we finished our childhood stage. Hooray! Which means it's time for the character creation screen again. So I wanted to bring you guys in for this because it's fun to talk about how I looked back in the day. So I'm in my in-between years, eh? I may have had a rounder face around then. There we go. Nice little rounder face. My eyes would stay the same, and I can't change my eye color. Let's see. Now, I am curious. Was the eye shape, did the eye shape have glasses, or was it just... Okay, no. So I had the oval one. I'll keep that. My hair... I had bangs, unfortunately. Let's see what we can do here. There we go, a nice blunt. That's a good contender. It was like bang straight across, so the blunt's a good contender. Oh my goodness. I did go through a stage with that, with the eye cover as well. Not gonna lie. Bowl cut, no. Oh my goodness, I wish I looked that cool. Let's see. Flowy. There's also like blunt too, nah. Strands are very cute. Medium's cute. Ooh, I like this two-tone business going on. Very cool. So many two-tones! Whoa! Holy moly. Holy moly. Oh man, so many cute... There are so many cute options. Swept bangs, swept curls, beaded. Half shaved, shaved, pulled back, smooth, choppy, curled. Let's see. I did have long though. Long is also a good. So in my in-between years, long, my hair was the longest it ever has been. Was in that stage. Okay, we'll stay at blunt one for now, but I might go back to long. Let's see. Let's see. And it was fairly straight, all in all. My, look at this mane. All these cool people. Locks, pigtails, lots of pigtails. Some cute buns. Let's see. No. No. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's actually gonna work just wonderful. Well, yeah. I still had brown hair. I've only dyed my hair once, and I regretted it, and I've never done it since. So I'm a very basic girl. It's fine. Oh, so cute. Acne, for sure. For sure. It was not pretty. What kind of scars we got going on? Is it the same ones? Yeah, okay. I still have the same birthmark. No freckles yet. Hand size, glasses. There it is. Okay. Now comes my glasses era, everyone. Are you excited for me? The rectangle's the closest so far. Okay. Which one of the rectangles do I want? That one, probably. Earrings. I was late with the earrings. I think that was... Was I in my tweens? Ooh, I think I was. Okay. But you can't actually really see them. I had gold. You can't see any of my earrings. Okay, we're gonna go with earrings 3 because you can kind of see them. Thin lips. Thick lips. It doesn't actually change the lips, interestingly enough. Why are you asking me about my lips? Just like the same thing with the hand size. And why would you need to know about my lips in that case, game? We'll keep that as thick. 3 C's. Birthmarks. Back, yes. Arm, leg, chest, no. Scars. Not yet. Soon. Soon, TM. No freckles. In my tweens. Did I still like everything? I think so. I was less interested in skirts, though. Dresses, yes. I think I can remove the skirts. Let's see. Bracelets, necklaces for sure. I did not have braces. Okay. That's a pretty good representation of me, I think, and is this still on, just want to make sure it's still on my name. Yep, okay. Delightful. I think I'm done. There you go, there's my tween self. Let's begin. Oh, right, what are my feelings for COVE at this point? Definitely would be crush. Ooh, I like this look. Very cute. This is when I'm starting to really enter my anxious era, though. So I think now I'm nervous, even though we've been friends for a long time. I think I'm actually in my nervous stage by this point, so let's go. Nervous crush? Yep, that sums me up to a T. Yes. Customize COVE. Choose to customize COVE yourself or let his prior experiences determine it. I want it to be determined by prior experiences, words, and things. That's cool though that you can customize if you want to. Neither. Oh, choose my feelings for Derek. It can be the same or different from how you feel towards COVE. I could just be crushing on all the boys. Derek, I don't even know you right now. I was just generally more anxious with everybody by this point. I'm reserve crush for when I do Derek's route, I think. We'll be nervous fond. That should be fine. A nervous fondness, yes, that sounds appropriate. Nervous. Start playing step 1, 2, or 3 using the nervous comfort level. That's me. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how COVE felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign COVE would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. By the way, I just love this background. Just want to say that. Gorgeous. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids. From what you saw, anyway. Youthful affection. Whenever he could, COVE stuck to you like glue. He didn't even mind that much what you did to pass the time as long as it was together. Sometimes it was like things were exactly the same as when you had first met. But other times, as you got older, you couldn't ignore how the feelings had changed in meaningful ways. Ahem. That year, the divorce of COVE's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying COVE's dad got full custody. Okay. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then you found out it meant COVE would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. COVE cried too. For different reasons, you thought. It seemed like COVE and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot COVE's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get COVE to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with COVE. Shocking. He seemed very confident that it was an effective strategy. COVE never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, COVE stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed. But you hoped that you could help him feel better still, since even without the tears, he looked sad. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal. Except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. Dang, alright, 13. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did in gym and other athletic situations. Over the years, he began opening up more too. You saw him talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. Thank the Lord! We are free! We have been freed from Shiloh. He'll probably pop up one more time at some point. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks. But nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. Rip. It was a long time ago. You learned some heartbreaking things became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple? I love it. Wanting something new and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You remember calling her Mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. Sad but true. So now she goes by Ma. I like that. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth. So you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dads struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work, if Derek had the time for it. And this is beautiful too. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed, in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over and summer vacation had come again. Whoa! I have a gaming computer. That chair is so much like my chair right now. It's not even funny. It's the same color scheme and everything. Oh, that's great. I wish I had, it would have been cool to actually have a computer and chair in my bedroom. That would have been sick. Man, times change. I have a lot more dirty laundry. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was as hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. To be more specific, you were... oh, definitely the top one. It was hot, but you still had the blanket up over your head to block out the sun. You didn't want it intruding on your lazy morning. Unfortunately, you hadn't prepared for an intrusion. From beneath the blanket, you heard the door creak open. Whoa, girl! Look who grew up! Looking very cute. You're still sleeping? Wow, get up! Yep. You stayed wrapped up in your blankets, not moving an inch, with your eyes closed peacefully. By the impatient tapping of her foot, you could tell she hadn't left. Come on! I know you heard me. Get up now. I will come over there. So much for a lazy morning. Your special boy is at the door. Like he always is now. Aw, man, did we confide in our sister that we have a crush on Cove? Oh no. Be cool, sister. He brought some happy summer gift from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him, say thanks or whatever. You did not like the way she called him your special boy, but you knew by now that saying so wouldn't stop her.
Come on.
So calm down already. Okay, my special boy's at the door. I'd be panicking because I haven't brushed my teeth yet. It's either this or this. I'll do the top one. Be right there. Elizabeth said nothing else and left, having done what was instructed of her. You rolled out of bed, stretching your arms up high and yawning. Time to get ready. You sat yourself in front of the mirror in the far corner of your room. You're very tall. No. Gosh, what's the difference between pretty short and very short? Look, if this mirror's in my room, why is it not at my height perfectly? Why do I have the mirror, like, not in the right spot for my height? And for the record, I reached my full height at 12. So from this point on, I'm 5 feet tall me forever. There's no more growing in my future. I'm so curious, like, yes, I know I'm splitting straws, but as a short person, I don't want to be very short. Pretty short, I'm like, okay, I mean, I can admit to that. I know I'm not average height. But I'm like, is very short under 5 feet tall? Am I overthinking this? Yes. Hold on, I need to do a Google search. Does Google, can you tell me what the difference is between definition of very short? I'm more like height, I guess. Height of very short. Very short is below 5'3". Short is between 5'3" and 5'7". In what country? What? 5'7" below... Hold on. Okay, what height is considered short for a woman, specifically? Okay, the average height of adult women worldwide is 5 feet 3 inches. So I'm only 3 inches below that. So does that mean I'm pretty short then? You know what? Heck it. I'm pretty short. I'm not very short. Screw it. You could relate to Derek and how it felt to be smaller than people thought you ought to be. Your shortness seemed even more drastic when compared to Cove, who was unusually tall. Story of my life. I didn't like it. As you can tell, can you guys tell that I'm self-conscious about it? Still? At 30? You couldn't help but feel awkward with the body you had. What? Impossible. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit while ruminating on the situation. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued your curiosity. You planned on going over to see what Cove was up to today, so this worked in your favor. It was when you spotted your reflection that you realized you were smiling wide. You were looking forward to seeing your giant special boy. You left your room, resting a hand on the railing as you went down the stairs. What Cove did I get? What Cove did I get? Second chance. Ooh, I'm all about second chances. You spotted Mom first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face.
Thanks.
Ooh, you look cute. I love the messy bun.
Good morning, Molly. Thank you for coming down. Ma's at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves?
The suspense is killing me. You nodded and made your way to the front of the house. Just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder.
Oh?
Oh my goodness, the purple hair so suits you. I love it.
Look who finally made it! Morning, sleepyhead.
Ma reached forward and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so at your height, you were absolutely tiny in her eyes. I'm glad I didn't go with very short. In front of my crush. Yeah, this one. Ma didn't bother trying to catch you. She simply smiled.
Ah, you're the last one down today, you know that?
What did we get? Morning.
That's all? You really are a sleepyhead right now.
With a small laugh, Ma stepped aside. Cove was just as you remembered. Exactly how you came to know him to be. Oh, look at you! Aren't you cute? Adorable. Alright, so that's what you look like so far, based on our choices from step 1. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as the longer strands of his hair idly drifted with the breeze. His features were pinched in embarrassment, and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must be the much-talked-about gift. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. No, instead it was carefully cut fruit. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at this showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. That kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, likely to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. It seemed no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. At the sight of you, Cove smiled, but there was some nervousness to it.
Hey.
You smiled back. You couldn't help thinking to when you first met Cove and how you became such good friends. Lately, though, you were starting to have different feelings for him. Hey, it's nice to see you.
Yeah.
You too.
His grip on the base of the gift tightened and your heartbeat sped up. Even if neither of you had spoken about it, both of you were aware something new was growing in your relationship. Oh, this is nice. It was already shaping up to be another long summer. The best part was that the two of you had plenty of time to spend together and explore what was developing. Well, this is certainly different from my experience, but it's nice to have, like, the best friend be on the same page right from the beginning. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. Your hands brushed over his just slightly when you took hold of the base. He flinched enough for you to know with certainty that he noticed it happen. You worried you might have reacted in a similar way without realizing. And with that, the gift was accepted. Hey, you.
I hope you and your family like this. It's a pretty good gift. I think so, anyway.
He smiled earnestly.
Dad spent a lot of time picking out the best size and design. There were so many options to choose from.
You are too cute sometimes, please. Me, that bold? Never. Thanks. To you and Mr. Holden.
I'll tell him you said that.
Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd ever had. Though, after 5 years, you were used to his antics. And you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. What do you mean you didn't like him? He is handsome. Very much so. I would have thought it weird to think of, like, my friend's dad like that at that age. Or any age, really. I mean, I think now I can kind of acknowledge it without it being weird in my head, but back then I'd be like, oh, no, wait, that's my friend's dad. It's either nice or he was great. I feel like I would have gotten along with Cove's dad pretty good. Though there were some things people didn't like about Mr. Holden, you didn't mind them and liked him quite a bit. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. Hello?
There you are!
You shared a confused look with Cove. As one, both of you stepped through the open door onto the neighborhood street. Is this when we... Yeah, this is Derek. Alright. Derek! Ooh, look at that scar on his hand. I see it now. I like that he has a pink bracelet to kind of commemorate he had a pink cast on that arm. That's very nice. I like that a lot. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. You were displeased. I don't know how to feel about this kid. I haven't actually, like, I had some interaction with him in the demo many years ago. But, like... I think because it's just like, oh my god, there you are, I might be confused. You hadn't expected to see Derek today, though you never really knew when he'd appear. Hey, Derek. Nice to see you, nice to meet you. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin.
Hey.
Aw.
Hey, guy and gal. I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at Molly's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just there?
Wow, rude. Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it embarrassed Cove, or the embarrassment was what he was actually laughing at. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened and he gasped.
What's that?
You followed his gaze, unsure. Then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. This? It's kinda like a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit.
Nice.
Can I have some?
Maybe you can have some later. Derek grew more excited by your words, bouncing on the balls of his feet.
Awesome!
Then he nodded his head as if to clear it.
Anyway, that's right, I came here because I needed to say something big!
He paused, possibly for effect.
There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird!
Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did 5 years ago.
Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh. The new kid was all by himself, just walking.
Did you talk to him?
Nope.
I came to report the sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave.
A fellow green-haired kid, eh? You blinked. Slowly, you looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove. When you first got here, anyway. That's true, you did have glasses. And now you don't have glasses, and I have glasses. Aw, look at that cute little scrunchy face.
It kinda does, doesn't it? That's weird.
He sounded almost fond, a small smile playing on his lips. Derek snickered good-naturedly.
I can see that really well now that you say so. What do you say? Let's go find Cove's lookalike. We should all meet him.
Sure.
I'll do it.
Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, then he pointed down the street the way he came.
Last I saw him, the mystery visitor was going this direction.
Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. At least the beach still looks the same. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked the familiar path in a comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicking up the sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad like you had originally pictured. No, with his erratic movements and scrunched-up expression, he came off angry. You became uncomfortable at the idea of talking to this stranger now. You didn't want to bother him if he was in such a bad mood. Derek didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy.
Hey, guy! Over here!
Hi! My goodness. I'm so sorry about your haircut. The kid whipped around, an impressive scowl carving deeper onto his face. His eyes were tired, but a strong, hostile energy still radiated from him.
What?
What is it? What do you want? The sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet.
What's your name?
Oh my god, is that who this is? No wonder you were so angry. You had a horrible haircut as a kid. So for context, for anyone who doesn't know, Jeremy was also a love interest in XOXO Droplets. Wonderful, snarky tsundere boy. And apparently, he was even grumpier when he was younger. But I can't blame him with that haircut, so I'll forgive him. Jeremy, was that it?
No.
I'm Derek. That's Molly and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi.
There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so, it's cool to see someone else here.
Strangely, Jeremy grew furious by your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me somewhere stupid. Of course. I knew it. What?
My parents.
They're the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own?
Right.
My dad brings me to Sunset Bird too, when he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad.
That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. Oh, you don't even know the half of it.
I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation probably either.
That's an understatement. This doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time. A chore. My parents' family is nearby and we just had to come see them. Ugh!
If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family too?
I guess.
That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else?
No! Jeremy crossed his arms with a huff. He turned away. They should have gone by themselves since they cared so much and left me home. But I'm not allowed to be by myself. Pfft. It makes no sense. They're the ones who don't know how to do anything. And I'm the kid? We just said hello. You don't have to keep complaining at us. Who peed in your cereal this morning? Oh, if I was Jerkette, I would so pick that option. With all this hostility and how anxious I am now by this point, I might have just kept quiet. I think I would have just kept quiet. You had no idea what to say to this, so you stayed silent. Jeremy didn't even notice, too focused on ranting. How do they always make summer vacation worse every year? You turned to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all. Jeremy must have had good hearing, though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed.
Stupid.
Of course we're not similar. My eyebrows aren't stupid. What did you say? You leave my wavy boy's eyebrows alone, okay? My boy's wavy eyebrows alone. Cove's cheeks flushed crimson at the insult. You couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger. Maybe both.
Come on.
How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think I would have probably done this. No! Cove's wavy eyebrows are so cool! Cove smiled weakly. Now I know why you thought we had anything in common. You must be blind! You lunged towards Jeremy. I probably would be pretty grumpy by this point. You were getting really tired of this.
Wow, what is wrong with you?
Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasally voice.
Wow, what is wrong with you?
Wah, wah. This is dumb. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and skulked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. Just gonna get in your shoes and everything, so you're just hurting yourself. You watched him go, hunched over, until he became a speck in your vision. Always a pleasure, Jeremy. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened.
I can't believe it. What a mean kid.
Derek wasn't kidding. And by the sound of those earlier complaints, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area for at least a little while this summer. Joy. So we got rid of Shiloh, now we got Jeremy. I do like Jeremy more than Shiloh. Which may be shocking for anyone who's not familiar with XOXO droplets and is like, Shiloh was a sweetheart in comparison. Like, yes, there's that. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping onto the ground. You followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do.
This sucks.
I was hoping we could meet someone fun. Hang out, maybe.
He shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression.
But, you know what would really improve the day?
What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used a hand to point. Right at the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. Why did I bring that with me? You'd completely forgotten about it during the mini-drama that unfolded. You had gotten used to the wait. Glancing over to Cove, you noticed he was eyeing the fruit. He must want some too. Sure. Why not? Let's eat. Derek perked up immediately at your words. He reached out for a skewer, hesitating slightly once he was inches away.
Are you sure?
You nodded. With an eager grin, he plucked out a prime row of fruits. Cove grabbed one for himself after him. Only you were without a skewer of your own. Ooh. Not pineapple. Grape is in. Strawberry or melon, strawberry or melon. It's summertime. I probably would have gone for the melon. The melon was cut to look like a star. It was the obvious first choice. Derek ate a pineapple skewer enthusiastically, finishing it within moments.
This is amazing!
It's nice.
And this fruit kebab thing is fun. Hey, you two remember the Land Before Time? That fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs all liked the leaves that were shaped like stars.
Yes, the Land Before Time! Shout out to Land Before Time! Were they called star leaves? Is that what they were called? Tree stars! Thank you, Cove. That's what they were.
Tree stars.
Yeah.
Chomping leaves looked so delicious when they did it.
They did. They looked so good. Like, so thirst-quenching and just, delicious. I don't know how they did that, but I agree.
And there was that scene with the pretty trees, and all the dinosaurs came in and picked everything off them till there was nothing. That's us right now. Awesome.
That movie's for kids. Shut up. Eating leaves looks good. Should I worry about you? Shut up. I mean, I do love that movie. I love that movie.
Me too.
The three of you continued like this for the next few minutes. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. it did help me. Food helps a lot of things. Derek was right. It was so good you were already brightening up from the earlier drama.
Hey, Molly.
Yeah? The two of you met eyes casually.
Thanks for what you said back then. It's nice not everybody thinks like that guy.
Of course. Oh, it's okay. He was just being a jerk. Derek chimed in strongly.
Don't listen to it, Cove. He's the problem. People shouldn't say those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Derek then leaned back on his arms. He contemplated the sky with a content sigh.
So, are you both ready for summer break?
Yeah.
Cool on you. Wish I could say the same. It feels like there's a lot to plan for. And what about you, Cove? Are you ready?
I think that depends.
Before you could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shattered.
Hey!
Molly! You glanced over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. I've been looking all over for you. Ma said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden bought for us. She leered over you with arms folded. So, where is it? It's gone. What do you mean, gone? You moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in your hands, which was now populated exclusively with skewers dripping in juice and tiny flecks of leftover fruit pieces. Her mouth dropped open, and the tone of her voice rose.
What?
Seriously, Molly? What were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home! She glanced at Cove, who sat beside you, and continued mockingly. Even if you are the most important person in the household to the delivery boy, this was up to his dad. Shut up, Elizabeth. It seemed everybody was in a mood to tease you and Cove today. Within moments, Cove's cheeks flushed red. He picked at the hem of his shirt, suddenly finding it very interesting. He always became nervous when Elizabeth would strike at your relationship. It wasn't us. A seagull came down and it was crazy. You should have been there. 13-year-old me with my sibling. Honestly, fought still at this stage. So, get over it. Elizabeth narrowed her eyes, not at all okay with that kind of response.
Oh no. I think I hear the mean kid coming back. We better get out of here.
Elizabeth blinked, confused, and looked around. Have fun, Elizabeth.
What?
What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but he sent a look to you from over his shoulder. You turned to watch Elizabeth. She stared back, brow raised. Later! Without a word, you two got to your feet and bolted down the beach. Unimpressed, Elizabeth rolled her eyes.
So immature.
She shook her head as she walked towards the house, not bothering whatsoever to follow. Good. That's a clean getaway, boys. Meanwhile, the three of you made it back to the shoreline. Derek pumped his fist, grinning in triumph.
We escaped and shall live to see another day.
Victory! You threw your arms up in celebration. You chuckled together, walking further down the beach side by side. You definitely wanted to stay outside a little while longer. You had gotten a bit of a scolding from your moms for not saving any of Mr. Holden's gift for Elizabeth, but you didn't get any real punishment for it. Nice. Instead, while you were out with the boys, Elizabeth returned home to share the news. The three of them went to get dessert on their own. It was declared even by your parents when everyone got back and the event was settled. Fair enough. After that, Derek had rejoined you in the living room. He'd elected to stay outside for extra time so that you could face the potential scolding from your family without him witnessing the embarrassment. Derek was a guy you could count on. Okay, good to know. The dust had settled from the prior events, and your moms went back to their room, so Derek was just taking it easy until his dad arrived. Mr. Suarez was meant to be there any minute to get Derek. Derek preferred not to sit, and instead took long, lazy strides in a circle around the edge of the rug. Hands behind his back and head angled towards the ceiling, Derek looked like he might have been puzzling out a crime. He probably made a half-dozen rounds when a solid knock struck your front door. That stopped Derek in his tracks.
Dad's here.
The both of you stepped towards the door in unison. You arrived first, since you had a half-room head start. When you'd pulled it open only a crack, someone zoomed in past you. Oh, hello, cutie! The breakneck flash of a human was still entirely recognizable. It was Derek's littlest brother, Nicholas Suarez. He shouted triumphantly.
We're here!
He was only 6, the tiniest kid around. Hot on his heels came the middle Suarez son, Jorge.
Nicholas.
We have to stay in the car. We're going home. We're not here to play.
He was 10, and his patience was being tested. The youngest one frantically shook his head. It made his hair even messier than it already was. Nicholas's hair was as wild and free as he was. Hair clips and his parents' minivan couldn't contain the energy, which might have been surprising, considering he loved cars enough to wear a shirt covered in them. But you knew Nicholas loved Derek even more. Staying right where he was, inside your house, at his even older brother's side, Nicholas gave Derek a hug.
I came to get you.
Derek bent down to scoop Nicholas into his arms in a fond squeeze, though he kept his face tilted up to make eye contact with Jorge.
Hey.
Hey, bros.
Oh my, we're meeting the whole family! How lovely! Side by side, Mr. and Mrs. Suarez trailed in. The resemblance between the parents and their children was clear. They're a beautiful family. Derek and Jorge were the spitting image of their father. Jorge was even sometimes called Junior, while Nicholas was a mommy's boy.
Good evening.
Good evening, Molly.
Hello.
You'll have to forgive the three-ring circus visiting town. The boys just had to come.
Sounds like you guys are pretty good friends if you're all just like walking into the house, so... Don't worry about that. You're welcome here. The frown that had been stuck on Jorge's face finally eased up a little.
Oh, how kind.
Goodbye.
But we can't stay. Thank you for letting Derek visit, and tell your mothers I said hello.
Okay.
Come on, boys, all 4 of you now. Let's get the Wayrider family their house back. Coming.
Yes, Mom.
Half of the group trotted forward with only a word. They went past Mrs. Suarez and out the door. She watched them go before surveying the situation with the most troublesome one. Nicholas was just bouncing around Derek, as if he hadn't even heard his parent. Derek and his mom looked on with identical expressions of exhaustion-tinged affection. When an opportunity opened up between hops, Derek carefully took hold of Nicholas's small hand.
Let's go to the car, Nico. You can sit next to me.
Thrilled by the promise, Nicholas let out another cheer.
Go.
Yeah, let's go to the car! Mrs. Suarez left it there, trusting her eldest, and went to join Mr. Suarez and Jorge. Nicholas grabbed Derek's black wristband with his free hand, stretching it outwards in his eager attempt to lead his bigger brother along. Derek stumbled forward with a chuckle, mostly to protect his band from being pulled too far, rather than Nicholas actually having the strength to move him. But he made sure not to forget you. Derek said his goodbye from over his shoulder. Gal, I like that.
Bye, gal.
I would have waved the group off for sure. After their prompt entrance and equally quick exit, the whole Suarez family was on their way home. You, however, didn't have anywhere to go. It was late enough that the rest of the day would be spent inside your own house. That was a while ago now. Later that night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. Oh. Your fingers drummed on the surface as you waited, your gaze trained on the phone. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin, Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your uncle, Aunt, and Lee used to live many hours away. Your families only saw each other a few times a year for big occasions. A while back, though, they'd moved and were closer to you than ever before. You now hung out regularly. With school being out, you're positive she's gonna want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Elizabeth, too, but now that your sister had become allergic to interacting with her own family, it tended to be just you and Lee who spent time together. Yeah. Being family helped make you close, but you had a lot of girlfriends. Interesting, though. I didn't befriend girls easily. I just had a lot of girls. I'm curious about the other option. I'm kind of in the middle. We'll do this one. I'll just stick with my original choice. You often gravitated towards other girls and befriended them pretty easily. I did also have a lot of non-girlfriends. What kind of gender someone was didn't seem to make any difference in who you got along with. Then the shrill ringtone announced an incoming call. You jumped before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Hello?
Hi!
Oh my goodness, you are so cute. You're like a fairy. I'm related to you? Amazing.
Hi, Molly. It's Lee.
I'm glad it's you. For a second there, I thought it might be one of Elizabeth's friends. There was static on the end, as if Lee was shifting wherever she was.
So, can you believe school's actually over? I thought it'd never be done. Now we don't have to do any of that boring stuff and we get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out...
Lee, can you wait a second? Let me just head to my room.
Oh yeah.
You got it from your seat at the counter. Luckily, the phone was wireless, so you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. Nice. Modern technology. Your mom's had a rule about not moving the phone unless a call was in progress, which was why you'd been sat by its cradle waiting for Lee to call. Yeah, probably. You weren't the only person here. If anyone could take the phone anywhere at any time, it'd be an even bigger hassle. You could easily imagine the receiver having a new forever home in Elizabeth's locked room. But now that Lee had called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom and talk to her. You made your way up the stairs, smiling. After you had arrived, you shut the bedroom door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. All right, I'm here.
Cool.
Hey, did you know the girl down the street from me has her own phone now? A cell phone. She doesn't have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything.
Wow, really? The thought of someone having a phone that was all their own seemed unbelievable to you. Gosh, I remember the days.
Right? I wish I had one too. But my parents said I couldn't get my own phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they'd changed their mind. We could call each other every single day and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be?
Really great. We could even stay up late talking about whatever we want. Lee sighed thoughtfully into the receiver.
At least they said I could have it someday. I can't wait.
She sighed dramatically.
I bet I'm not gonna get one until I'm all the way in college.
You might be surprised. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfy. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over and you'd have to choose whether or not to go to a college. School was such a big part of your life right now. Studying didn't come easily, though you tried hard. You worked about as hard as most people and got pretty average results as well. You never tried much, but you still didn't do that bad. You didn't bother at all in school, and your grades reflected that. Everything in your classes came easily to you. You worked hard for your excellent grades. Very much so. Every A+ you brought home was a result of concentration and diligence. You hoped that you would be able to keep it up through high school. Getting, anxious thinking about it again. You felt a lot of pressure to maintain the high grades. Yep, that's the one. Your future depended on it. Yeah. You tried to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. Lee knew you too well to be fooled.
What's up?
You sound so spacey.
Just thinking about school. Lee groaned.
Are you thinking about how we don't have to think about it because it's summer? That's what I'm doing.
Let's make a petition for more vacation time.
Yeah.
Everybody in class would sign it. Maybe some of the teachers too. Though I guess school isn't all the way bad. You can do some good things there. You can just do more when school's out.
I'm gonna do the nerdy answer. Learning new things can be cool. I just wish everyone did okay with how they taught the things, not just some people.
Me too.
But that was all. And that's pretty much everything that's good about school.
Okay, point taken.
All right.
Now, I decree the topic of school is officially closed. We have to talk about this summer first before we start plotting the rest of our lives. I've got some plans already.
Like?
I'm gonna visit my cousins.
You chuckled, of course.
What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head.
New art supplies, reading, catch up on movies and TV, the beach. Yeah, the beach. Probably I'll spend time at the beach.
I could have guessed that one.
You leaned back in your bed, settling in as you continued chatting with your friend. Even though it hadn't been that long since you saw her and you'd be seeing her soon, you found plenty to talk about. For one, the events of the day. You sat up straighter. I was with Cove and Derek today, and we met a new kid.
Like at your neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. I don't know how long.
What was he like?
Mean. He kept snapping when all we were trying to do was talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone. But especially Cove. It was awful.
I don't think I want to meet him.
You want a boy to stay away before even meeting him? That's an unexpected twist. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have them around until they started to annoy her.
Hey, who are you to talk? You give practically all your attention to boys. Or maybe just one boy. I see how much you like Cove.
Denial. Denial all the way. What? No, I'm not that obvious about it. I don't give him all my attention. Lee laughed at your denial, deeply amused. You shut your eyes tightly, feeling embarrassed about her reaction. What do you want? There was a stomping noise approaching your room, heralding the arrival of your irritated older sister. She flung the door open, a frown etched on her face.
Come on.
How long are you going to hog the phone? Glancing at your watch, you realize that your quick call had gone on much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand, the other one lodged on her hip. She noticed the realization on your face. Time's up. What would I have done? I was pretty combative in the family. I'm still using it. Not anymore. You don't get everything in the world. Neither do you. I'm not the one asking for it. You had your turn. Now you want to get mine too because you are first? In your dreams. I will get Mom's. She glared right back before whipping around and shouting out your door. Yep, that sounds about right.
Hey!
Mom! Molly won't give me the phone, and it's way past my turn. She hollered back up the stairs.
Let Elizabeth have her turn. Sharing is caring, and you only get rights to the phone if you use it responsibly.
You heard her. Fine. Lee, I have to go now.
Bye.
Okay, see you soon. Tell Elizabeth and your moms I said hi too.
You'd barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new as she strode out of the room. Your ma's voice called from downstairs.
Hey, has anyone seen the phone?
I'm using it! With that, she shut your door behind you. Silence was left in the wake. That was one way to end your first day of summer break. Sometime later, it had gotten dark outside, and you laid in bed wide awake. Your window rattled all of a sudden, startling you badly. You flinched, staring over at it with furrowed brows. Is it the ghost again? From your vantage point, you saw only the moon and an open sky. You were... curious. What had caused that noise? Cocking your head, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You wanted to get to the bottom of this. To your utter shock, your gaze was met by a pair of familiar ocean blue eyes. Cove? You squinted. Yep, Cove was right outside your window. Are you gonna serenade me? Your house was very angular, and some parts stuck out further than others, so it theoretically wouldn't be hard to climb around on. Still, just because somebody could, it didn't mean you expected it to ever happen. To his credit, Cove was doing... Wait, he's climbing up to my... What are you doing, Cove? This is wild. Cove was doing fine. His feet were braced against a section of the wall that jutted out, his arms flexing with the effort to keep him upright. He easily lifted a hand and waved at you from the other side of the glass. You hurriedly opened the window. What are you doing in here? I love your shirt. It's great. Excellent color choice. Cove climbed over the ledge, releasing a breath once he was safely inside.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, Molly.
What's up, Romeo? I mean, that's where my mind would be going, but I would be panicking about, like, this is so romantic in my head. Yeah, like this, but in my head. That's not coming out of my mouth. What are you doing?
Visiting?
Why?
I know that it's late, but I didn't know what else to do. If I rang the doorbell, I know your moms would have answered and they'd just make me go home. I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over anyway. I don't want to talk about it. Well, besides with you, I mean. But that's why I... did that.
As unexpected as this was, you were touched. Cove felt like he could tell you what was wrong.
I might have tried calling or something. Except my dad was on the phone.
Cove suddenly looked very cross.
Dad, he was talking to my mom. Still is, probably.
You raised your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation? I don't think I would have commented on it. I just would have been like, and what happened? There were other things to talk about. Are you going to stay with your mom for a while again? Every year, Cove was sent off to live with his mom for a few weeks. When it happened varied. Sometimes he would go during winter break, but usually he went during summer. Even though it was hard news when you found out he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. To your surprise, however, he shook his head.
That's what I thought too. But no, that's not what they were saying. My dad asked my mom not to have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here.
Did she accept? He's looking a bit conflicted. You waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. You couldn't help but stare at Cove. There was a complicated mix of expressions on his face. Did she say what she would do?
She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon, before school starts.
Your mom's coming to visit. Oh. You had heard Cove talk about his mom a lot over the years. He'd tell you about past memories or what happened while he was visiting her. Still, it was one thing to hear about someone and another to actually meet them. Very soon, you were going to see Cove's mom in person. You were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cove felt. You looked over at him. He was pacing across your room, his features pained with dread.
Before, they'd barely stay in the same room long enough to have lunch. Now we're gonna be all together again. The three of us, after all this time? Just for a few weeks. I know I should probably be happy they can talk to each other now. I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out. And now I feel really bad for feeling this way.
Molly.
It's so...
His fist tightened and his eyes became misty.
I shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid.
Though he wouldn't meet your eyes, you knew he was waiting for you to say something. Goodness. I was not wise enough to say that at the time. Probably this. I'm sorry, Cove. You know I'm here for you. The tense line of Cove's shoulders eased.
Thanks. That makes me feel a little better. Like, I'm not freaking out for no reason.
A momentary silence fell over the two of you. You marveled at how the day started. You had woken up eager for summer vacation, but now things seemed so crazy. The mini debacle with Mr. Holden's gift, the newest addition to the neighborhood being so rude, and as if all that wasn't enough, now Cove's mom would be living with Cove and his dad again. Your whole life was kind of like that, it seemed. Complicated and hard and different. Why couldn't things just get better with time?
Molly?
The sound of your name, said quietly, pulled you from your thoughts. Cove gazed at you, concerned.
Are you okay?
You're asking about me? Who, me? I'm more worried about you.
You don't have to forget about yourself for me. I want to listen to you too.
Aw. Cove grinned reassuringly. It was small and delicate, but you knew it was genuine. Moonlight from outside cast shadows across his face and lit up his eyes. They seemed to sparkle with his smile. Just that one look brightened your mood somewhat.
You know, I think I don't want to talk anymore about this.
That's okay. When you do, I'm here. He looked away, his lips thinning into a line, and rubbed at his arms.
But I kinda don't want to go back home either. Could I stay a little longer, just doing something else?
Do you remember when you came over here for a sleepover and you wanted to leave? And now you want to stay here? We really have come far in our relationship. He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. How could you possibly turn him away? Either one of these. Not that one. This might be too mushy for me. I've got a flashlight and some cards. Are you in? You shifted from one foot to another, hoping you'd said the right thing. Aw, that was a big smile. Cove perked up at your response, a smile appearing on his face. He immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. You felt a little better at the sight somehow. You still had a lot of worries, but you were glad he was here. And not just tonight. You were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you'd never want to undo. It felt totally natural to let him into your little world. That initial friendship had deepened so much over these past years, and you were certain there was room to get even closer. Like right now. You joined Cove on your bed, taking a seat across from him. He smiled at you again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. Though he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad, he must be thinking about what happened and what's about to happen. Yeah, at this point, I'm not so touchy-touchy anymore. I wish I was not that bold. I might have nudged him with my foot. Either that or smiled. I'm gonna flip a coin for this. Okay. Heads, we smile. Tails, we nudge. Hiya! Heads. Alright, you get the smile treatment, sir. You had no idea how to make him feel better, though you wanted to try anyway. Hopefully your presence was helping. That face. Conversation was stilted and broken often by silence at first. Then both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As your secret hangout session stretched on, you thought that you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped a day would never come when life decided that the two of you would have to part ways. And you knew COVE felt the same.